welcome to the Run to Remember Memorial Marathon Podcast. I'm your host, Kristen Fairs, joined alongside race director Carrie Watkins. This episode, you'll hear from Adam Wisniewski with Visit OKC, Carrie Burkhart, who runs and volunteers Race Weekend, and Amanda Scofield with our Zero Waste team. The 2025 OKC Marathon takes place the weekend of April 25th through the 27th. Visit okcmarathon.com and sign up to run, walk, or volunteer. All right, Carrie, we're getting closer.
We're not into single digits, but we are under 30 days. So
Yeah,
here we are.
here we are.
And we're kind of feeling the heat off the street. It's just everything's coming. 30th anniversary, then 1 week later, the marathon.
Yeah.
But we've got the best people helping us, and you're going to hear all about that today.
Yeah, and we're going to start off with Adam Wisniewski he's the Vice President of Sports Development for Visit OKC, and I love just what a champion he is for Oklahoma City and all the great things going on. Adam, thanks for joining us today. This is a huge event for OKC, and it has a huge impact on
Signature event.
Absolutely. Marquee, major, there's a lot of words we can use. They all are fitting.
So kind of just talk to us about the impact that this race weekend has on the city as a whole.
Sure. Well, I still don't know exactly where participation might fall this year, but I know that the goal is 25,000 participants. I mean, that number alone is incredibly significant. When we look at tourism, I specifically oversee our sporting department. So all of our major sporting events that we host here in Oklahoma City. And the Women's College World Series kind of comes in first place, 10 days, 115,000 people. But then right below it is the Memorial Marathon and the impact that weekend has on our visitor economy from a sports standpoint. And then there's, realistically, a pretty large gap between anything else.
But incredible events are happening all over.
Oh, of course. We have events going on
year
year-round. We're talking about millions and millions of dollars of impact. But I want to focus on the marathon really quickly, just because that weekend, 25,000 people. Last year, I think we were in the ballpark of $14 million of economic impact. And one thing that I just like to continue to harp on and make sure that people are aware of is just how important that impact of tourism is. I mean, tourism at the end of the day, last year, 2023 was the last year that we have full metrics back. $4.5 billion in economic impact generated by tourism. That's what keeps local pizzerias open. It's what keeps boutique shops open. And at the end of the day, it's what has put our city in this position of where we are now, where there's so many exciting things to look forward to. You've got Coliseum on the way, multi-purpose stadium on the way, new downtown arena on the way. How did we get here? I think it's a lot through tourism. And I think a big piece of that, the bedrock of a lot of that, has been the marathon in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm. Well, it certainly has been a unification and unity of coming together and deciding we can do this if we're all working together.
Absolutely.
And the Visit OKC leads the way in that and make sure they're bringing everyone together to collaborate. I was on a call with Adam last week. All the events happening in April, mind-blowing. And it's just an opportunity for us to, that weekend, the Arts Festival, Better Barrel Racing, the marathon. It's busy. And
yeah.
We need to have a conversation with the NBA. We'll never win that conversation, but the fact that the playoffs start the week of Memorial Marathon, and then, if the Thunder, who are currently the number one seed, make it to the NBA Finals, hypothetically, the NBA Finals are the exact same week as the Women's College World Series. So Those 6 weeks or so are easily the 6 busiest weeks of the year, at least from a sports standpoint. I think between now and mid-June, we're hosting, at least in terms of events that we're involved with, somewhere around 50 to 55 events and tournaments from a sports standpoint in the course of 6 weeks. So it's very busy, and then it's just exciting when you can throw the Thunder on top of it. The city just feels alive, and it's vibrant, and you get the activations all over and the painted windows and the window clings, and it's really incredible. Last year was a lot of fun, and I don't think it's going away anytime soon.
Oh no, and I think we clinched a playoff. It starts anniversary weekend. They play the 19th to 20th, and then play. Looks like we'll be on the road marathon weekend, which we like it either way. We would have to adjust things, and I think for the sanity of our police department and all those who have to make it work, they're great with it being on the road and marathon weekend. But time or two that's happened, it is incredible energy. But to think through that we could get to the finals and be having two major world-class sporting events in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, that's amazing. When you put the College World Series, I hadn't thought about that. Yeah.
I think about that weekend especially. That is far and away our busiest weekend of the year's opening weekend of Women's College World Series. Just from a hotel standpoint, to give some perspective, we're looking at citywide of our 18,000 hotel rooms, we are at least 88% full. Downtown, we're looking at more like 92 to 93%.
It's a blackout week at our office. No one takes off.
Right.
And it's our busiest week. Besides the anniversary week, it is our busiest week of the year.
And I think one of the coolest things about it, though, is if and when, I'm going to say when, those two events overlap, and I don't mean to focus on softball specifically by any means, but if and when those two events do overlap, we're talking about the championship series and game one of the NBA Finals occurring at the exact same time. That means that Oklahoma City is broadcasting on ABC and ESPN concurrently. The entire nation's watching us. And I don't know if people ever thought we'd exactly get here, but the fact that we are here and the journey's just going to continue, I think is really exciting because we have a story to tell, and if the world doesn't know yet, they're going to know soon.
Right, yeah. So this starts on race weekend, and we're broadcasting on News 9, and we will be telling this story, and it's streamed, it's out there as well. The runners, people will have legends from all over the country here for the 25th Memorial Marathon. It is, I think, at our peak, our top performance of what we think we'll push out to the city as far as runners, legends coming in from all the major races. Our peers are calling us saying, can we come run? Can we come help? And so we'll have our race director peers here from, I would say, most of the major cities. And I love that because it really does start this very intense 3 months or 10 weeks or so of sports in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, and the people coming to see the city, and we know it's a great place, but getting to show that to other people, people who haven't been here before. What are some highlights they should check out?
Oh my gosh, there's so many different things. I think the thing that has really stuck out to me since moving here almost 4 years ago has been the culinary scene. I mean, the food here is incredible. I came from the DFW market, and I don't want to go back anytime soon. I want to tip my cap to Chef Andrew Black and his restaurants. But really, we have such vibrant districts, and nobody knows that better than the Marathon because you guys touch almost every single one of them. But you can go to almost any part of the city, and you're going to find something that sticks out.
That's true.
And that could be an attraction standpoint. That could be from a restaurant standpoint. It really is fun just to see how everything is continuing to build. I'd say right now, probably the headlines include Okana finally opening. I think it was 2 years ago we were on this podcast talking about how that project was officially underway, and it's felt like a pipe dream.
And now they're sold out.
An incredible product, right? I mean, a resort-style hotel campus of sorts. And I don't know, again, if people ever envisioned product like that existing here in Oklahoma City, but it just speaks to the trajectory that we're on. I'd say the other thing that I would want to make sure is on people's radars is the new Coliseum that's going to be opening out at the fairgrounds here very soon. That's a project. It's a part of MAPS 4 that's been in the works for quite some time. And again, we just actually right now are in the middle of the 60th year of OSSAA's state basketball championships taking place here in Oklahoma City.
Everybody got one last chance to the big house
at Jim Norick Arena, and it's obviously a heartfelt goodbye in a lot of ways. And we're going to go through something similar when it comes to the new arena here very shortly. But the new Coliseum opening is very exciting as well.
And that's part of, we talk about Day of Darkness, Years of Light. We used the Marriott Convention Center, which then became Cox and then Prairie Surf. It's coming down before the marathon, or starting. Mm-hmm. The Norick Arena was the major gathering place on that Sunday following the bombing, with Kathy Keating leading that prayer service. So these major places, which serve their time and overserve in some ways, they're coming down for new growth. And that really is part of our story at the Memorial and the Marathon, is you live the best days you can live and you move to the next day. And saying goodbye to these old treasures and pieces of history are important, mm-hmm. but you don't keep things just because.
Right.
You you try to grow and move forward. And so Adam and his team are leading the way and with that. And we do these 30 stories of light each week, and we'll focus both on the fairgrounds and the Myriad in our own tribute of saying goodbye. We did day one at the Myriad as a way. And so we've tried to tip our hat to these great places where people have gathered, it's great sporting events, but it's time to move on, and it's fun to watch the new growth as well.
Yeah, and I mean, I would also just, point out a few things that I didn't mention earlier, which is first and foremost, number one attraction in Oklahoma City is the National Memorial Museum, right? That is continually the thing that people come back to. People want to be a part of, a journey that they want to experience, no matter why they're in Oklahoma City. It could be for a vacation, it could be for a sporting event, it could be for any number of reasons. And then the other thing is just kind of tying it all back together, right? Is you're talking about the history, Carrie. And in 1995, it wasn't on the sports side. We also have the meetings and convention side, but it was Oklahoma Restaurant Association that was having their, meeting or convention trade show here. And the role that played is immeasurable in so many different ways. And so the fact that we're continually trying to fill this city with tourism related events, sometimes you see and feel the impact and sometimes you don't, but I promise you it's there. And then there's opportunities like that one where it really gets a chance to shine and in a lot of ways kind of saves the day.
Rapid fire real quick. What's your favorite spot on the marathon course?
I'm going to have to say the finish line hospitality tent, and it has absolutely nothing to do with the bacon.
Okay, great. Perfect.
Or the cinnamon roll.
Or the cinnamon roll.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
To die for.
Thank you, Adam.
Well, thank you. Thanks for everything you do. You're a great champion for OKC. We appreciate it. We appreciate your partnership.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. It's always a lot of fun being on here.
Thanks. The Chickasaw Nation has sponsored the marathon in a variety of ways. This year, we welcome the return of the Chickasaw Nation as the sponsor of our newest race, the Quarter Marathon.
The Chickasaw Nation supports this memorial and what it represents. This memorial needs your financial support. It's a private institution. It's one that we as Oklahomans can rely upon to help us remember this terrible event that occurred in 1995. The Chickasaw Nation supports it. It's important, but all of us as Oklahomans should do the very same.
Our next guest is Carrie Burkhart, who volunteers on Saturday and runs on Sunday. Carrie, thanks for joining us, and thanks for volunteering and running.
Yeah, sure.
The weekend of fair.
Yeah, so tell us what you do on Saturday, and then tell us what you'll be running on Sunday.
So Saturday, I like to do the 5K, and then I volunteer for the Kids Marathon, and I usually pick the finish line because it's the same finish line as the 5K finish line. So I do a quick change, put on my volunteer shirt, hop over to the Kids Marathon finish line, and I love to hand out medals and high fives. So that's what I like to do on Saturday.
Oh my gosh, it's so fun. And you handle the parents?
Yeah.
The sweet parents. You love parents, but sometimes we all are a little crazy with our kids.
I mean, and I have a son too, so I get it,
We can't judge, but we do.
It is a little chaotic, but it's also really fun.
Fun. Yeah. And then you're running on Sundays.
So I run the half marathon.
Wow. I mean, just does it all.
And what other races have you run?
So at the Oklahoma City Memorial Marathon, I've done the relay, the 5K, and the half marathon. And I have stayed away from the marathon. And I probably will.
Everybody finds their race. We're glad you had to run the relay because we've retired it to add the new quarter marathon. But we're glad. How's the training going for the hats?
It's going well. This will be my first half marathon in almost 3 years. I took a little break. And last 2 years, I've done some cheering on Saturday. So I have a friend who lives on the course, and she's at about almost mile 12 or 25, which is a tough spot.
It's
uphill. And last year, the weather was perfect running weather. I don't know if you guys remember, but it was overcast, a little misty. It wasn't great cheering weather. It was great running weather. And as they were coming up the hill, people were looking really happy. The year before, when it was really sunny, everybody was looking very miserable, and I was really glad to be on the sidelines. But last year, everybody looked really happy, and I thought, what am I doing here? I should be running. And with it being the 25th anniversary, I decided this was the year to sort of make my half marathon comeback.
Well, have you ever tried Nerds Clusters in your running training?
I have not, but I
give you some to try.
Perfect. Thank you. I do love these as a movie candy. So I bet I'll love them as a running candy too.
My brother, who's a faithful listener of the podcast, said, "Are you all getting sponsored by Nerds Clusters?"
We're not, but we're going to ask.
Right. Cost them out like crazy.
Tell her how you use them when you run.
Well, I've been using them in my long runs about 45 minutes in, and this is straight from Dr. Coleman, and he's the medical director. So he told me to eat candy. And so I'm doing it. It's got about 100 calories in it, and I just pop them in and go about halfway through my long runs. And I don't know if it's the psychology of just having candy and that, right, it's just good. And so I get a little pep in my step, or if it's really the burst of the calories. But either way, it's working for me.
Either way, you're a nerd.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
Well, what are you looking forward to this year?
I'm just looking forward to being back out there to get those 13.1 miles done. I love the drum line that's at Edgemere Park. Love it so much. It gives me so much.
Legion's credit.
Yeah, I love it so much. Gorilla Hill's always a blast.
Yeah.
I can say I'm not necessarily looking forward to Classen. I'm looking forward to being done with Classen. How's that?
But also, we've got fun things coming up.
The Asian district they're rolling out. Their culture district is rolling out some great things. So I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at the changes along Classen.
That'll be great. And now, at the finish line, you've got to look forward to ice cream. Ooh, I love ice cream. Even more than burgers. And Carrie and I have tasted it, and it is delicious. So
Boomtown Marathon Magic.
Yeah,
you can just dream about it. It's
right.
Stores on the 24th.
Yeah. And so, Carrie, you've had to deal with the tragedy of your own. Can you kind of share that and share kind of how this race is meaningful to you and just kind of get parallel you see?
Absolutely. My husband and my son and I, we lost our home in the Moore tornado in 2013. Luckily, we weren't home, but we lost everything. And what we really saw afterwards was I've heard about the Oklahoma Standard. I've been part of the Oklahoma Standard, but I really experienced the Oklahoma Standard for the first time after that. Friends and family were all obviously supportive of us, but perfect strangers. I mean, right. Coming, calling, dropping off all kinds of things to help us. And so it just speaks to how Oklahomans come together in the time of need. And it's just really amazing. And it still sort of makes me a little teary-eyed thinking about how much people really came forward to help us.
Mm-hmm. And so your bounce back is similar to a marathon. I mean, it's hard.
It was.
It takes time.
Yeah, it was. It took us over a year to rebuild our house. And so we were in that limbo for a year. And no one really thinks about what's it like to be in a limbo like that for an entire year. And it was rough. We weren't in a place, we knew we weren't going to stay where we were living. And, we were trying to get this house finished and rebuilt. But, gosh, so many years later, it seems like it was, it's like, oh, I could do that. I don't want to do it again, but I could do it again.
But you need the strength to get through it.
Absolutely.
And the support group.
And it was really the support of so many people that got us through that.
Mm-hmm. And you're born and raised in Oklahoma. Were you here during the bombing?
I was a senior in high school. I'm born and raised in Oklahoma City. So senior in high school. And I mean, I remember that day, and I remember how it affected the weeks and months and, the years afterwards. I was just driving in today thinking about how much the city has changed, after all of that and how we've blossomed. And it's just been really cool to see and to tell people when they're coming to Oklahoma City, like these are all the things that you're going to go do. Mm-hmm. And I think when I was a senior in high school, I wouldn't have said that.
Couldn't have imagined that.
No.
Yeah. So you're going to take to the start line on race morning, and we've been to the 30th anniversary. We'll be tackling the 25th marathon. You're born and raised here. You've been to the best and the worst. What's on your mind as you start that race?
Yeah, I think, the starting line is so special. I mean, I think nobody can argue with that.
Right.
It's huge. One of the biggest races that I've stood at a starting line for. Those seconds, 168 seconds of silence are so special. And the starting line's not the only special part. Obviously, all the neighborhoods are special, but the finish line with all those banners, that part always really touches me. Mm-hmm. And I think it's so special how we've honored those people and the people, the rescuers of, everybody like we said, everybody who came together. This race really pays tribute to everybody.
Yeah.
And it's just really, it's awesome to be a part of.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Well, thanks for volunteering and thanks for running and just thanks for hanging in there with us as we've gone through this journey. What a remarkable soul that
Well, and it
just
just
turned it in.
just because you're running doesn't mean you can't be a volunteer.
That's right. There's
Yeah.
plenty of spots on Saturdays.
Yeah.
Thanks, Carrie.
We appreciate it. Thank you. Cox Communications has supported the Memorial Marathon from its beginning in 2001 by providing Wi-Fi and sharing the marathon message on their cable channels. Their commitment helps keep participants connected and spreads the marathon's mission to the community.
For years, our community has gathered together for this run to remember. Whether you're running, cheering, or volunteering, you represent the Oklahoma standard. Cox Communications is proud to team up with our Oklahoma families, neighbors, and friends who run today for the lives lost and those changed forever. Together, we create a better community. Cox is pleased to support the Oklahoma City Memorial Marathon and connect our communities into the future.
Next up, we're going to talk with Amanda Scofield, who's chairman of Marathon Zero Waste Team. Amanda, thanks for joining us. Thanks for coming back. You've been here before.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And you know, Carrie, this is one of those things that I just think people don't think about.
So do not.
They do
But
not.
very important.
But it's very, very important. So tell us what the Zero Waste Team does.
Yeah, for sure. So just real quick, we did rebrand from previous years. We were previously called the Green Team. So we rebranded to Zero Waste Team. But we're doing the same thing. There's just a lot of green teams in the city, which is amazing. But our Zero Waste Team, zero waste is really an aspirational term, right? Something we're working towards. And so the main thing we do is we recycle and compost at the finish line, the start line, and at Scissortail Park. And we use over 200 volunteers.
Oh, wow.
In our efforts. So it really is a community effort, and I really appreciate all the volunteers.
And what does the team recycle? Like what products recycled?
Yeah, so for recycling, we do cans, like beer cans, aluminum cans, plastic bottles, the chocolate milk cartons, and the heat sheet blankets.
Okay.
Those are specialty recycling where we send them to a company called Trex, and they get made into this plastic decking that gets remade into benches and stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
We're putting some of that in over at the Heartland Chapel, a new decking that's made from recyclable.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it really is important to
Yeah.
go through this process. What are your numbers are impressive. Talk about how much you recycle.
Yeah. So overall, with recycling and composting, we reach up to 7,000 pounds that we divert from the landfill. So that includes like 1,000 to 2,000 pounds of recycling. And if you think about recycling, we do empty all the bottles out. So it's a lot of air in there. So it's not very heavy, right?
Right.
So that 1,000, 2,000 pounds fills 1 or 2 roll-offs. So it's a lot of material. And then for composting, we compost about 3,000 to 5,000 pounds. And if you think about food waste, it's a lot heavier.
Right.
Right. It has that water weight in it. So,
So how do people find the places to recycle the compost?
yeah. So, we'll have bins out. They are wire bins, and they have clear bags in them, and they'll have signs on them. One will say recycling with pictures of what goes in there. The other one will be similar but for composting, and we try to keep them next to each other so that it's easier.
And so runners can just find these and put their items in it, or what do runners do to help?
Yeah, runners can just look out for the bins
At the finish line.
at the finish line. Yes. And they can find, we're going to have kind of reflective vests on this year as our zero waste team, so they can find one of us and just toss their trash to us. We'll take it happily.
Why is this important to you?
Yeah, so for me, this is really important because just in general, as humans on this earth, right? We have a personal responsibility to care for our earth. And I think that's just a personal reason that I love. But more logistic reasons, are diverting waste from landfills is, reducing the land that we have to set aside for landfills. So instead of the land being a landfill, maybe it becomes a park. So a trade-off like that. With recycling and composting, that helps reduce emissions, reduce pollution. And for composting, I'm a big fan of compost, and that part is putting those nutrients that are in our food waste back into the nutrient cycle, back into the soil, so that our new food can uptake that and that we can eat it again.
Yeah, you can't take that for granted. It's an important part of
Yeah.
what we all enjoy.
If somebody wants to help you, your team specifically, how can they get in touch with you to volunteer?
Well, we have our sign up on the website. We're Zero Waste Team.
OKCmarathon.com.
That's right. And yeah, that's the main way.
Perfect. Thanks, Amanda, for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, Carrie, we asked for people to reach out to us with their stories, and we heard a pretty cool story about this, a running story in the celebration of life from Claire Phillips, who ran the inaugural race in 2001 in memory of her cousin who was killed in the bombing, Kenneth Glenn McCullough. And this year, her daughter, son-in-law, and granddaughter are running, and her other daughter is the official cheerleader. But the most amazing thing about this, Carrie, is how old is Claire?
78.
Yeah. 78 years old. She's running the marathon?
It's crazy, but she's doing it.
Running the marathon.
We talk about this being a run to remember, and it really is. And it's very personal for so many family survivors and first responders. And you'll see them identified this year with a button, or if they're running a race, a sticker on their bib that identifies their connection, which is something runners have kind of asked for because they want to know. And if someone puts a medal over them, it's a family member, a survivor, a first responder.
Right.
That means so much to them. And so we loved getting this note. But I think when you realize 25 years of running, she's been running,
yeah,
and supporting her family. And this is a way sometimes they give back, or they run for their own mental health and just to process. And we love getting the note, and just to know that so many people are coming in to run this race in memory of one who was killed.
Of a loved one. And,
yeah.
And to be doing it at 78 years old is really impressive.
Yeah.
Really, really.
We'll look forward to seeing that.
I know. Well, if you have any other stories that you'd like us to share, we'd love to hear from you. Let us know any questions you have and tell us your stories at okcmarathon.com. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. The Memorial Marathon takes place the weekend of April 25th through the 27th, and if you haven't already, sign up today at okcmarathon.com. This is your host, Kristen Fairs. Let's marathon.